GDP code and establish a green project pipeline, thus channeling investment towards climate-resilient and environmentally sound development. Along with these reforms, the Philippines also actively advances its integration in regional trade agreements, such as through the implementation of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, and ongoing negotiations for a Philippines-EU Free Trade Agreement, a Philippines-Chile Comprehensive Economic Partners Agreement, or CEPA. We are likewise pursuing membership in Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, the CPTPP. These agreements are key to fostering cooperation, innovation, and rules-based integration, enabling predictable business environments, harmonized standards, and transparent supply chains. We are committed to maintaining high standards in our trade policies. Ladies and gentlemen, we view the business community as a full and essential partner in our national economic narrative. While the government is focused on creating an enabling environment through stable policy, sound regulations, and strategic infrastructure, it is the private sector that moves capital, that creates jobs, introduces technology, and delivers meaningful, lasting impact on the ground. In the Philippines, engagements with the private sector, particularly through our Private Sector Advisory Council, have evolved into government actions in the areas of digital transformation, infrastructure, development, sustainable energy, healthcare. And as a model of good governance, public-private sector cooperation helps align the government's work in many sectors to deliver quick, concrete results. We certainly value your insights, and we welcome your ideas. We are fully prepared to work with you in transforming these ideas into real, tangible results. With these, the Philippines welcomes deeper collaboration with industry leaders to scale digital solutions, develop inclusive and sustainable business models, and build resilient value chains. Strong public-private partnerships and regional integration are essential to harness new technologies and create a connected, future-ready Asia-Pacific. Businesses must not only benefit from progress, but actively co-create the future by leading in technology development, in supporting startups, embedding sustainability, and upholding good corporate governance that builds trust and accountability. Despite progress, barriers such as regulatory fragmentation, uneven digital infrastructure, and supply chain vulnerabilities still persist. They hinder full economic integration and inclusive growth. So to overcome these challenges, the private sector must intensify its role in policy advocacy and cross-border standardization. While governments set policies, businesses bring the operational expertise and technology that will harmonize the different disparate systems. We call on industry leaders to share best practices, advance unified regional standards for data exchange, and co-develop interoperable digital tools that foster a transparent and inclusive digital ecosystem, creating a level playing field where enterprises of all sizes can compete and collaborate effectively across the region. I'm very pleased to have been able to attend the CEO Summit once again this year. I believe APEC is uniquely positioned to significantly strengthen engagement and collaboration with regional partners and different fora, such as ASEAN, around shared objectives. As our economies are deeply interconnected, our progress depends on how well we collaborate, how effectively we harmonize policies, and how seamlessly we integrate our markets. Governments and the private sector must unite to create a sustainable, inclusive, and digitally empowered future. Let us move forward together, bridging businesses and going beyond to ensure growth benefits to every person. We do not leave anyone behind. As the Philippines takes on the ASEAN chairship for 2026, we stand ready to build a more connective, competitive, and sustainable regional economy driven by deeper cooperation and shared growth. We look forward to your support as we lead ASEAN next year, with a key priority being the signing and rollout of the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement, a game-changing step towards a seamless $2 trillion regional digital market by 2030. So today, let me make our message clear. The Philippines is open, ready, and eager to do business with you. The Philippines offers more than just a strategic location at the heart of the region. We bring a dynamic workforce, a thriving, innovative ecosystem, and an unwavering commitment to sustainable and inclusive prosperity. So let me conclude by warmly inviting you to visit the Philippines next year as we proudly chair ASEAN. Our chairship will advance a stronger APEC-ASEAN alignment and promote coherent policies, resilient institutions, and broader opportunities for all. We welcome our partners from across the region, and we invite the business community to join us in shaping a connected, resilient, opportunity-driven Asia-Pacific. Maraming salamat. Yorobum kamsadul imnida.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for your robust words of encouragement. Let us please show our appreciation by giving another big round of applause to the President of the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to cordially ask for your kind understanding once again as we are going to take another brief moment before we welcome our next special speaker. It'll be highly appreciated if you could still remain seated until we resume. Thank you very much for your most generous cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for waiting and cooperating with us. Our next special speaker is now ready to deliver his special remarks. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be our final remarks by a head of state. Thank you very much. Now, for our final remarks by a head of state, we are tremendously honored to welcome His Excellency Gabriel Boric, President of Chile. Please welcome President Boric with a strong round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. I understand that we have simultaneous interpretation. I come from Chile. We are at 18,000 kilometers away from this place, 35 hours. That's how long it took us on an airplane. And just like we have expressed it with everyone that we've talked with here in Korea, despite the physical distance that we have, we know that we have a lot in common. We know that we share values, but above all, we have so much to explore and so much to work together. Particularly in a very troubling world where in the past few years, certain principles have been put into questions that have inspired us in the last decades: multilateralism, fair trade, the respect for the rule of law, and peace. In Chile, we are convinced. We are a medium-sized country where our only way of progress is not through force or conflict between our brothers and sisters of other countries, but rather through cooperation, multilateralism, respect to international law, and respect for human rights. But we are here also from a perspective that inspires us to ask ourselves, how can we develop it differently? How can we provide material conditions that are better for our people? And we can agree with members of the APEC that the work between the private and the public sector has to be more collaborative. And also, we know that we are facing common challenges with the rest of mankind. That from once in a while, different crises remind us that. Natural disasters like climate crisis or the pandemic even, during 2020. All of that reminds us that national frontiers or language differences are not barriers for common challenges that we have to face. And I would like to address how we understand from our country one of the main challenges, and maybe the most important one that we have as a generation, which is the climate crisis, from a perspective with the sense of emergency and opportunity in Chile. And please try to think about a map in your minds. That long country in South America that has the driest deserts in the world, but at the same time reaches the Antarctica, that has thousands and thousands kilometers of coasts surrounded by the Pacific Ocean and the beautiful Andes mountain range. In this country, we know that we have huge opportunities when facing the challenges of the current world. In order to do this, we've progressively been changing our development model. We've moved towards an energetic transition which is ambitious, fair, and responsible. For example, we're fully committed in reducing greenhouse gases and facing climate crisis under the Paris Agreement that we ratified in 2016 that will be tested next week in the COP in Brazil in Belém do Pará. We've updated our contribution on a national level, our NDC, together with a national strategy for a just socio-ecological transition. And also, we have a binding commitment of being a carbon neutral country from here to 2050, and I think that we're going to do it before that date because we're already seeing concrete results. A decade ago, 43% of electricity in Chile came from coal, and by last year that percentage was reduced to less than 20%. If we've committed ourselves to eliminate coal generation from here to 2035 through accelerated investment. Renewable energy is a state policy beyond the color of the party in government, and that provides certainty to long-term investments. Chile is now placed as a global reference in clean energy, not just in Latin America, but also in the world. We know that critical minerals are also crucial for the implementation of clean technologies like solar and wind energy, and also for the storage of batteries. We are the biggest producer of copper in the world and the second largest producer of lithium in the world. And we have the biggest reserves of lithium today in the world. And we are prepared to meaningfully contribute to the supply chains and creating supply chains that are resilient for these critical materials, because one of the assets that our country has is an intangible good, which is trust. In Chile, international treaties are respected. In Chile, investments are respected. In Chile, you can have a long-term idea, because regardless of the political ideas that we have within our country, when we step outside, Chile is just one. Currently, we are implementing multiple initiatives, including our national strategy for lithium, our green hydrogen strategy, the plan for energy efficiency, the circular roadmap, and the framework for climate change. Most of them are ruled by law. All these actions reflect the commitment of Chile with climate action in energy transformation that can be sustainable and completely aligned with the Putrajaya vision of the APEC and the action plan of Ateora. I would like to convey that these international meetings that today in several parts of the world are being criticized, for us is very relevant, and we will defend multilateralism because it's because of multilateralism that our country has had the chance to grow. It's because our insertion in the world is that our country's been able to grow, because we know, and we've said this over and over, Chile needs the world. But today, the world needs Chile as well, because Chile has a lot to offer. And let's make no mistake, it's not just the minerals coming from our earth. It's not just the wind blowing in our Patagonia. It's not the copper coming from our mountains. It is also the culture of our country. It's also the knowledge generated in our universities, the value of our workers. But we know that we have a lot of challenges. We were just having this conversation with one of our APEC representatives when she reminded us that Chile has a lot to invest in training still for this transformation that is happening worldwide. in technology issues and also energy issues as well. And in this, we believe that APEC countries with Asia Pacific countries, we have so much to learn from them. And we say this very humbly and very proudly because we are aware that the world's development is at stake in being able to learn from the experiences that other countries have had. And the development model that has moved us away from poverty and has moved away from poverty to Singapore, Thailand, South Korea. These are models that in a democratical framework we can recreate in Latin America. I want to say that we are fully committed to investments in science and innovation through initiatives like startup labs, a collaborative space that supports entrepreneurship based on science and technology, and we are becoming a technological hub for Latin America with investments in data centers, with the creation of the first underwater optical fiber that goes from south to south, from Chile to Australia, and eventually another one from Chile to China. Another cornerstone of our vision is green hydrogen, because we know that clean hydrogen is crucial to decarbonize difficult sectors like heavy transportation and chemical industries, and Chile has the conditions to produce green hydrogen in a more efficient and cheap way than in other parts of the world because of the solar energy and wind energy that we have. The demand is not yet ensured, but we know that that's where the world is headed. Therefore, we are betting on that direction. Only yesterday in Punta Arenas, where I was born, a very ambitious green hydrogen project was approved for producing in the southernmost region in the world for the rest of the world. As I said, hydrogen and lithium are main pillars in our sustainability strategy and energy transition for Chile. But we understand that this is pointless if we're not thinking about the quality of life of our citizens. And this is expressed in very concrete actions. For example, Santiago, our capital, with over 6 million inhabitants, is today the city of the world outside China where more electrical buses are on the streets. And we are replicating what we've done there also in other smaller cities in our country like Copiapó, where the entire fleet of public transportation is electric buses. And that's where we're moving also towards in other regions in the world, in our country. We know that the world is becoming more and more digital. This is why we salute the initiative of terminating paper commerce that is being promoted from APEC. But we know that transformation also has an energetic cost. Data centers, AI application, and cryptocurrency produce a lot of consumption of electricity, and it's growing, and achieving sustainability will require a more balanced energy matrix where renewable energies, where we at Chile know they're going to play a more important role. Without question, promoting clean energy sources through commerce is the right step. With the support of a solid institutional framework and a macroeconomy that's stable and inclusive, Chile is determined to be a leader in the green energy transformation with countries that we have shared values like Singapore or New Zealand, with which today morning we launched together a new agreement for a green economy that will be focused in very concrete issues. For example, determining what is green fuel, for example, for aircrafts. We're moving very quickly, and we know that this way of facing things are very useful because we've seen it in other experiences, like, for example, the CPTPP that was born with other countries from the APEC, or the DPA, like giants like China are waiting to be a part of. We believe that the APEC offers a vital space for this dialogue between the public and private world. This forum, you have developed initiatives like the Guideline for Policies, Development and Implementation on Low Carbon Hydrogen Framework and the Just Transition Initiative. And together we've developed certification policies for hydrogen, resilient energy policies, and encouraging local demand for low carbon energy. Now, in a world context that's marked by geopolitical tensions and very serious disruptions in the supply chains and a resurfacing of protectionist measures, collaborating is more urgent than ever. Today in the leaders' meeting, one of the things that I wanted to communicate to my colleagues is that we have two elephants in the room: war and protectionism. When Russia invaded Ukraine, prices of foods in Chile went up because of the cost of fertilizers. Peace is disruptive, but we need to fight for it. This is why from Chile we firmly say no to war, and we respect and we call for a respect of international law in the conflict in the Arab world, from the genocide in Palestine carried out by the Israeli government or the illegitimate invasion of Russia to the Ukraine. And the other elephant is protectionism. When the rules of the game are changed very abruptly, not respecting trade agreements or the rules that we've given ourselves, that's how trust is broken. And we want to say very humbly from our country that only multilateralism and dialogue between equals is what is going to take us to development, not the law of the strongest. We have many areas in common. We have too many common challenges. You see that migration waves are not just from one territory. This is happening all over the world. And we will see more and more because of the crisis in climate. Pandemics don't respect borders or frontiers, like we all know. And climate crisis doesn't distinguish between developed or underdeveloped countries. This is why it's so important to sustain life on Earth and find inclusive sustainable development. One of the most intense debates in economic politics has revolved around if economic growth has to happen at the expense of future nature and future generations. This is now an obsolete debate, although some of them are still defending it. Chile's strategy is based in promoting an open, sustainable, and inclusive commerce, and understanding commerce and trade as the transaction of goods, assets, and also the exchange of culture, history, traditions. Understand each other better. It's not enough to exchange money. We need to know where we come from. We need to understand that we are part of one humanity. As John Donne said many centuries ago, an English poet, when one promontory in Europe is diminished, bells are ringing not just for you, but for everyone. This is why our insertion in the world and the logic under which we've addressed this as state policy, our international policy, has to do and is expressed in 35 free trade agreements that address many economies. We were one of the first countries in ratifying the PB&J agreement on ocean governance beyond territorial limits. And for us, It is proven that multilateralism, sustainability, and innovation go hand in hand. We need, my dear colleagues, prosperity for our shared community. We know, and we talked about this today with the PA from Singapore, that today that's a utopia. But utopias give us a place to walk towards. Reality is not static. Let's not worry about the picture in the present. Our generation has the right and the duty of asking themselves, what do we want to be and what world we want to leave our new generations, our children, and we have to act accordingly. Governments cannot do it by themselves. States can't do it on their own. We require the business sector, the private sector, and an organized civil society to carry out all these changes. These are positive changes in which, from different latitudes in the world, we should acknowledge one direction. And today, in the roundtable with the APECs, we were sitting down. The Singapore Prime Minister, myself, and business representatives from Canada, from Thailand, if my memory serves, from Korea as well, of such diverse countries, but where we have common issues. And APEX proposed the inclusion of women in the workforce, where we're fighting for that in Chile with a daycare law. This will allow to boost the economies of our countries in many millions and billions of dollars. And women are no different. In Singapore, in Malaysia, or in Chile, they have the same right to be a part of economies and fair markets of more solidarity and resilient countries. Chile bases its environmental leadership in the search for convergence between the state and private investors, and we want to dig deeper in that line, focusing on science, on innovation, in the development of human capital, especially to improve the quality of life of people and their families. This is why we have a very determined agenda in investment, and foreign investment has reached record levels in our country in the last few years. This is why we are rationalizing the permit system, because we know that long-term investments require certainties, and Chile is a country that provides certainties. Also, from our perspective as a progressive government, we've faced this entire debate and all this process, keeping in mind how we can improve the quality of life of our people. This is why we've pushed on the reduction of working hours a week, the increase of the minimum wage, the complete gratuity for our health network, the widening of programs to support and recognize unpaid work, the caregiving that is provided by women in Chile and in the world, and that it's not acknowledged, it's not valued enough. The creation of protected areas, substantial reform for our pensions, because a measure that improves the quality of life of our people, and that's what makes Chile progress. And this is why we can also progress along with the world. This combination of encouraging investment and progress in public policies, we believe is the road for a more sustainable and just development. I want to invite from this stage to the private sector joining us today to join us in building resilient supply chains that create benefits for our communities, that are coming from the logic of legitimate retribution that investments have, and how that same investment can improve the quality of life of people. It's possible to look beyond the immediate profit. Just like in politics, it is necessary to step outside your small struggles and try to find the lasting print that we want to leave the world, and only through an efficient international cooperation and not through impositions, only through respecting human rights and international law, and only through collaboration between the countries, collaboration between the public and private sector, is that we are going to build a sustainable future for generations to come, and even for our own generation. Let's work together, not just to reach the goals of the Paris Agreement and the Sustainable Development Goals that we have for ourselves as humanity. We've achieved great progress in the last few years. We've reached civilizatory agreements regarding the world that we are leaving behind, and it's up to the human will to carry them out. This is why I want to invite you to believe in us, to believe in humanity, to believe in politics as a transformation agent and a change agent when you do it honestly. Let's work together cleanly with no corruption between the private and public sector for our common interest, shared interest, which is just to improve our quality of life of our people, of the great majorities. Let's guarantee an inclusive, just, and sustainable development, and a future for humanity, and a future for the planet. Our aspiration is very simple but very deep. We want to have a legacy and living a better world than what we have now. Thank you so much.
Mr. President, for sharing your distinct vision and voice with us today with such a solid passion. Let us give a heartfelt round of applause to Mr. President of Chile. Once again, let us sincerely thank all four of our distinguished heads of state, all of whom demonstrated their unwavering support for the shared growth and prosperity of Asia-Pacific region. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick coffee break. Thank you very much for your consistent cooperation. Have a pleasant break, and we look forward to your continued participation in the rest of our program. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly have your attention, please? We are just moments away from a very special session. So please come inside the hall and be seated. We have a very special session coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, may I cordially have your attention, please? We are just moments away from another very special session, so please come inside the hall and take your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, another very special session is expected to begin at 4:05. The time now is 4:03, and the special session will begin in 2 minutes at 4:05. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your keen interest. We will now commence the next session. As you've all been expecting, this next session is a keynote address by another very special speaker. Let's find out who he is through a short video.
대한민국, 한강의 기적을 일궈낸 나라. 여러분의 결단력과 희생으로 단순한 재건을 넘어 역사상 가장 빠른 산업화를 이루었습니다. 작은 공방에서 시작해 대규모 공장에 이르기까지 오늘날의 한국을 만들었습니다. 철강, 반도체, 전자제품, 선박, 자동차, 그리고 기술을 통해 전 세계 가정에 한국의 이름을 알렸습니다. 사람과 사람을 연결하고 한국을 미래와 연결했습니다. 그리고 하나의 불꽃이 피어났습니다. 바로 스타크래프트. PC방이라는 새로운 경기장이 탄생했고 엔비디아 지포스는 새로운 플레이어들의 장비가 되었습니다. e스포츠는 모두의 무대가 되었고 챔피언은 국민의 염원을 안고 우승을 거머쥐었습니다. K컬처, 세계는 처음에는 호기심으로 이내 사랑에 빠졌습니다. K팝, K드라마, K뷰티, K스타일에 빠졌고 떠오르는 세대는 더욱더 높이 나아가고 있습니다. 한국의 황금기를 향해 그리고 AI 엔진, 엔비디아 GPU로 구동되는 새로운 종류의 AI 팩토리와 함께 AI 혁명이 도래했습니다. 한국은 반도체에 이어 이제는 AI 인프라를 구축하고 있습니다. 삼성, 현대, SK부터 네이버와 LG에 이르기까지 디지털 트윈, 스마트 로봇, 스마트 팩토리, 산업혁명에서 AI 혁명으로 한국은 새로운 미래를 만들어가고 있습니다. 여러분과 함께 할 수 있게 되어 영광으로 생각합니다. 기적이 계속되는 바로 이곳, 한국에서.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, up to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you. Do I do it from here?
At the center, wherever you want, actually.
Okay. Are you going to stand there? You're going to help me?
If you need my help,
Yes.
willingly.
Nice to see all of you. Nice to see all of you. Kombu chicken is very good. I enjoyed chimek with my friends, and it is the best way to enjoy Korea. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. And first of all, congratulations on such an incredibly successful APEC. It tells you something about the ability for Korea to attract, to unite, and of course, Chairman Tony Che's incredible work to organize what is a historic APEC. And so I want to congratulate you for that. The industry, as you know, the computer industry that NVIDIA is part of is going through a fundamental transformation. And every single industry, because computers are affect and impact every single industry. It is the single most important instrument of humanity today. Every single industry is being impacted as a result of a platform shift we call artificial intelligence. Our journey started over 30 years ago to invent a new way of doing computing. The computing approach that we created and invented is called accelerated computing. We recognized years ago to create a new computing model to solve problems normal computers cannot. It has another benefit that when Moore's law runs out of steam, it could be the path forward for the computer industry. 33 years later, as we continue to be able to create more transistors with every generation of process technology, and even though transistors' performance and power benefits have slowed tremendously, we can now continue to expand computing for as far as we can see because of accelerated computing. We are now seeing a platform shift. This platform shift was the reason for creating the GPU and inventing the model we call CUDA. However, a GPU alone is just a chip. This new computing approach requires tremendous amounts of algorithm software to be developed. We call it CUDA-X libraries. Very few people talk about this, but this is NVIDIA's treasure. These libraries make it possible for us to apply accelerated computing to computational lithography, the work that we do with Samsung, or in deep learning and robotics, the work that we do with many companies here that I'll talk about. It allows us to do quantum physics. It allows us to do quantum computing, molecular dynamics, fluid dynamics, robotics, of course, artificial intelligence. These libraries open new markets for our company. These libraries are precisely the reason why NVIDIA's computing approach is now available all over the world in so many different industries. But it started from a very humble beginning. And so I made a short video for you to give you a feeling for what NVIDIA's technology can do today. It has been 33 years. In fact, I've been coming to Korea. NVIDIA came to Korea 30 years ago. We invented the video game industry together. I introduced GeForce here to Korea 25 years ago. And last night, we had a big celebration with the esports gamers and PC gamers here in Korea. It was incredibly fun to celebrate GeForce 25 years of GeForce. And so I made you a short video, but as you're watching this, remember, nothing here is animated. Everything is simulated. Everything I will show you is mathematics, computer algorithms that make it possible for us to do what I'm about to show you. Please run it.
Ready, go!
It is incredible. It is incredible how far technology has come. And what you saw just now is fundamentally a new computing approach. One of them is called accelerated computing, but you are also seeing artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is, of course, affecting every single industry. And most people think artificial intelligence is a chatbot, as they should. ChatGPT revolutionized artificial intelligence and put it into the hands of everybody. However, artificial intelligence is many things. And I'm going to tell you what it means to you, what it means to the industry that we're in, so that you have a feeling for how you can engage artificial intelligence. First of all, artificial intelligence is a whole new computing platform. The old way of doing software with handwritten software, hand coding, to a new way of doing software where the computer learns by itself, where we train the computer, we train the model for it to perform the task we want it to perform. Artificial intelligence and AI runs on GPUs, whereas hand-coded software runs on CPUs. This entire software stack, from the needs of energy, chips, the infrastructure, all of the software associated with the systems, the AI models, and the applications on top, every single layer of computing has been fundamentally changed. Just think, the computer industry has been largely the same for 60 years. And now, with AI and accelerated computing, every single layer of the computing stack is being changed. All of the computers we've created in the past, $1 trillion, maybe more, of computers needs to now be transitioned, shifted to the new computing platform. The second thing to know about AI is that although Transformers is incredibly successful and very important, there are many AI models. There's AI models for languages, but remember there's all kinds of information we want to use AI to solve. It could be AI for chemicals, proteins, physics, quantum physics, different fields of science, even AI for robotics, AI that understands the physical world. AI is quite diverse. The number of algorithms necessary to encompass all of the world's different AIs is incredibly vast. ChatGPT and chatbots is one of them. But the beautiful thing is, with all these different AI models, we can therefore revolutionize many applications in many industries, which is the reason why we are seeing AI affecting literally every industry in the world. There are no industries where intelligence is fundamentally not necessary. The observation, and this is a very important idea, that the technology of the past, software of the past, is a tool that humans use. Excel is a tool, web browsers are tools, PowerPoints are tools. These are very important tools, but these are tools used by humans. It's no different than a car that is used by humans. It's no different than screwdrivers and hammers that are tools used by humans. But AI is work. AI performs work, which is the reason why everybody realized that AI has the ability to address the largest technology industry in history. The tools industry, the IT industry we know of the past, is a few $1 trillion. The AI industry can address $100 trillion of the world's industries, make it more productive, help the GDP grow. And then one more idea. Artificial intelligence, unlike software, artificial intelligence needs a factory. This is the first technology that transforms energy, and on a continuous basis, applying a computers that NVIDIA builds, these GPU AI supercomputers, to generate intelligence for everybody to use. Each single token is generated based on the context of the time and based on the questions that you have for the AI. What that means is the world is going to have an enormous number of these AI factories. And because AI is going to be integrated into every single application, into every industry, AI infrastructure will be built by every single country. Just like electricity, just like internet, and now artificial intelligence, AI factories will be built all over the world. It is one of the reasons why this is so consequential to every single country. It is the reason why it is so consequential to the conversation we're having today. AI is an industrial revolution. It changes the computing software stack. The software is work, not tools. It addresses extremely large industries, and it requires factories. Well, in the last couple of years, we've seen extraordinary progress, and this is the system that makes it possible. This is the latest NVIDIA system called Grace Blackwell. This is one giant GPU. It weighs 2 tons, has 1.5 million parts. It consumes 120,000 watts, 120 kilowatts, and it produces tokens or produces intelligence at an incredible speed. This is what a GPU looks like today. People think that NVIDIA GPUs are like a gaming GPU, but these GPUs are really massive. Entire supercomputers in a rack. Probably the question that most people ask me is, what changed this year? You might have seen that although AI has been growing quickly, NVIDIA has been growing quickly, but in the last 6 months, it seems the growth has really accelerated quite substantially. There's a reason for that. In the last couple of years, AI has made tremendous progress because we can now reason and think and solve problems that we have never been trained before to solve. AI now has what is called 3 scaling laws. We teach it like a child to memorize information. We also teach it, called post-training, how to perform new skills, how to reason and how to think. And then during inference time, the AIs today don't just respond with memorized answers, but it responds by thinking first. The quality of the answers has improved tremendously in this last year. As a result, more people are using it because the answers are better. You can use it to solve more problems. When the answers are better, more people use it. When more people use it, the amount of computation necessary continues to grow. So the way you teach an AI, the computation is quite substantial. The way you use an AI today, the amount of computation is quite substantial. But the important thing is this. Because these tokens, these intelligence that are being produced are so good now, customers are paying for it. The tokens have become profitable tokens. This year, AI became profitable. And when something becomes profitable, you want to manufacture more of it. Just like when you're manufacturing chips and wafers and DRAM, if the manufacturing of those chips were profitable, you want to build more factories to create more chips. Now that the AI is profitable, we want to create more factories to generate more AI. We have now achieved what is called the virtuous cycle. The AIs get better, more people use it, makes more profit, create more factories, which allows us to create even better AIs, which allows more people to use it. The virtual cycle of AI has arrived. And this is the reason why you're seeing the world's CapEx going so fast. There are 2 fundamental things that are happening. The first is a transition, as I mentioned, from general purpose computing to accelerated computing. Moore's law has really run out of steam, so we need another way of doing computation. NVIDIA's accelerated computing is the foundation layer for that. On top of accelerated computing, AI has now achieved the virtual cycle, which is the reason why all of a sudden we're seeing the amount of CapEx that companies are building is growing so substantially. This is going to happen here in Korea as well. Well, the reason why I think this is such an extraordinary time for Korea is, of course, during a platform transition, it's vital to any technology industry. It's vital to any industrial nation. However, for Korea, this is an extraordinary opportunity because in very few countries in the world do you have 3 fundamental, essential, necessary qualities in order to succeed. The first is you need software. Software expertise is one of those skills that Korea has abundance of. deep technical and science capability, and third, manufacturing capability. When you combine software and AI, technology, and manufacturing, you have the opportunity to really take advantage of robotics. This is the next generation of physical AI. And you can see NVIDIA working in the robotics field all over the place. This is humanoid robotics that we're doing with Figure. This is the work that we're doing with Caterpillar, turning themselves into a robotics industrial company. This is agility, logistics robots. This is Johnson & Johnson, surgical robots. But the technology has now reached the level where we are starting to see robotic systems all over the place. We're also seeing entire factories become robots. This is a factory that NVIDIA is building in the United States for our own AI supercomputers. And we're working with technology companies throughout the world in order to create a robotic factory. The entire factory is a giant robot. And inside this robotic factory, it will orchestrate robots that are working together with humans, with all of us, and they're going to produce products like self-driving cars that are robots. So robots orchestrating robots, building products that are robotic. This is the future of artificial intelligence. And I think that this is an area that is just so incredible for Korea because you have all of the capabilities. You have the deep technical capabilities, you have software capability and artificial intelligence capability, and you also have such an incredible manufacturing base, industrial base. Well, this week, we're announcing several really terrific partnerships, extension of our partnerships. I've been working here for so many years. We have so many different friends. Naver, for example, was one of our earliest partners, and they partnered with us to create the world's third large language model. And that large language model was Korean. And they were one of the first customers of ours in building a supercomputer here in Korea. This week, we announced that Naver NVIDIA will expand our GPU infrastructure here in Korea by 60,000 GPUs. We're working with Samsung in manufacturing, of course. They are the first partner NVIDIA had in building memory technology to help me invent the AI supercomputer that is now powering the world's AI. We manufacture HBMs here. We, of course, partner with Samsung on manufacturing chips. But now we're going to advance AI together, build AI factory together, build digital twins for their factories together, expansion of our partnership tremendously, and we're going to build 50,000 GPU AI factories with Samsung. Working with SK, at the SK Group, of course, with HBM memory, but also in creating digital twins of their factories, and we're going to build 50,000 GPU AI factories with SK Group for their AI factories. And then Hyundai, we partner with them to build autonomous vehicles, but their factory will become digital twins, and inside these factories will become robotic factories, orchestrating robots, building cars that are robotic. And they're building 50,000 GPUs for their AI factory. Total, this week we announced that we will build 250,000 more GPUs here in Korea, making Korea one of the largest GPU or AI infrastructure countries in the world. And then finally, it's really vital that we build the ecosystem, not just the AI infrastructure of Korea, but the ecosystem of Korea, so that we partner with AI researchers here with Korea universities, amazing universities like KAIST, all the startups that are here, to create an environment necessary for them to benefit from AI, so that there's a rich ecosystem of AI startups here. Working with the government, working with education, working with the established companies. This is an extraordinary time. I want to thank all of you for welcoming NVIDIA with open arms over the last 30 years. This is the beginning of a new journey. You were part of my journey as we were building NVIDIA. I am honored and grateful that we're going to be part of your journey as Korea now becomes an AI nation and you pursue your endeavors to be part of the AI frontier. Thank you very much.
Let us extend our deepest appreciation to Mr. Jensen Huang of NVIDIA for the invaluable insights and perspectives shared with us today. What a fantastic way to conclude the journey. That was the perfect finale to the summit. He was the last guest speaker of today and of the summit. Now, with the extraordinary keynote address delivered by Jensen Huang, all sessions of the APEC CEO Summit have now come to an end. On behalf of the organizer, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to all our exceptionally distinguished speakers for their immense contributions, and I would like to express my utmost gratitude to all our esteemed guests as well for showing your genuine interest and support throughout the 3-day summit. This historic summit would not have been made possible without your presence. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will soon proceed with the official closing ceremony after quickly setting up the stage before resuming our session. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed with an official closing ceremony. Please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Choi Tae-won, APEC CEO Summit 2025 Chair, and Mr. Ron Hong-bin, APEC CEO Summit 2026 Chair, over to the stage. Please give them a strong round of applause as they enter the stage. First of all, Chairman Choi, we would like to hear from you. Congratulations on the successful hosting of the APEC CEO Summit this year. Could you please come forward to the podium and give us a closing remarks? Ladies and gentlemen, let us extend a warm and respectful round of applause to Chairman Choi.
Good afternoon. Personally, I'm finishing my job. What a relief. Anyhow, over the past 4 days, we have prepared not only the session and discussions, but also various programs such as performance and exhibition. So how did you enjoy that? So very much. Thank you. Now as a final moment, I'm sure many of you feels your batteries are almost discharged. Well, you just see that our last speaker is our AI hero and legendary Jensen Huang, my friend, and he actually come up here and he actually drowned rest of the your energy probably. So, but before your battery is dead, and I'm gonna launch that final closing remark, and very short and simple. Well, this year's summit was the biggest ever. So we, with over 1,700 global business leaders, and gathered is just one place, and more than 20 sessions, and more than 80 speakers, including Jensen, share the ideas on their own idea for the innovation. I sincerely thanks for that all the speakers and the guests who come to Gyeongju. As we come to the close this summit, we like to conclude by the moving beyond this year's theme. This year's theme is 3B, and I'm trying to change it to 3C. So I'd like to introduce it to all the C's. Number 1C is close the gaps. The first is close the gap is the benefit of technological progress are not shared equally by all. So that means, well, there is a AI polarization, AI divide. So one nation cannot really handle this. So we must establish the common principle for digital technology and financial investment to bridge economic and social divides among the member economies. The second C is a co-create value. The challenges we face today that cannot solve by the one nation alone. So by working together in future, industries such as clean energy, the semiconductor, the hydrogen and nuclear power, so we can create greater opportunity for business. Last C is a commit to tomorrow. As I mentioned, the APEC is not just a forum for discussion. It is a platform for action. So AI should not just take a job away, but create the new opportunities. The energy transitions, carbon neutrality should become the energy of the growth. It's not just burden, so that next generation can live in the better world. We must start action today. So although our time in 1,000 years old city of the Gyeongju is coming to end, and we hoped the promise we made today will last far beyond the next 1,000 years. So I would like to hand over the gavel to the Chairman Lon Hongbin of CCPIT. Yeah, he's going to lead APEC CEO Summit 2026. So I can tell you from my last year's experience, the gavel itself is very heavy, so please carry safely. Yeah. My sincere thanks for the appreciation to the Chairman Lon. And lastly, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the government of the Republic of Korea and Gyeongsangbuk, the province, and the city of Gyeongju, and our APEC and the ABEC, the organizers and all partners, and sponsor companies. Especially thanks for that all the staff and the volunteers who worked behind the curtain, behind the scene. So also, you are the unsung heroes. So all you participants is without you, there is no APEC Summit. So thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending our deep gratitude with a strong round of applause to Mr. Che Tae-wan. We sincerely appreciate your generous remarks and the hard work and dedication you've shown throughout the summit in organizing this magnificent event. And now we will proceed with the APEC CEO Summit handover ceremony. May I kindly invite both Mr. Che and Mr. Ron to come forward to the center of the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm and heartfelt round of applause as Mr. Che Tae-wan hands over his chairmanship to Mr. Ron Hong-bin. Mr. Che Tae-wan of Korea is now turning over his APEC CEO Summit chairmanship to Mr. Ron Hong-bin of China. And now Mr. Ron Hong-bin, now chairman of the China Council for the Promotion of International Trade and the incoming chairman of the APEC CEO Summit 2026. Could you please give us a speech as you accept the chairmanship?
Good afternoon, dear friends. So as Mr. Che Tae-wan said that he has finished his work. I think the work is very successful, have been done. And I just have taken over the chairmanship of CEO Summit for 2026. So I already feel the burden on my shoulders. But I'm very confident with your support together, we will have very successful CEO Summit 2026. So first of all, let me congratulate warmly to the very successful organization of CEO Summit 2025. And also my thanks goes to Mr. Che Tae-wan as the chairman of 2025 CEO Summit. So China always pays very much attention on the APEC issues. And Chinese government also attaches great importance to the multilateral trading systems. And APEC is the highest level, most extensive, and the most influential economic mechanism in the Asia-Pacific region. For over 30 years since its inception, APEC has remained committed to building an open, dynamic, resilient, and peaceful Asia-Pacific community. Today, our world is undergoing profound change and instability, with unilateralism and protectionism on the rise. Asia-Pacific cooperation is at a critical juncture where progress is essential to offset regression. At this historical crossroads, APEC must stay true to its founding mission of openness and cooperation, face challenges with solidarity, and foster development through collaboration, contributing more wisdom of the Asia-Pacific community to global economic stability. China is a key driver and a propeller of the Asia-Pacific cooperation. In 2026, China will host APEC for the third time. So the 2001, the first time, 2014, the second time. So tomorrow, the next year will be the third. As China's largest national trade and investment promotion agency, the CCPIT will spearhead APEC business activities and host the APEC CEO Summit 2026. We stand ready to work with all parties, of course, including you, to deliver practical cooperation outcomes and bolster economic growth in the Asia-Pacific and beyond. And for that, I have just want to share some ideas for the next CEO Summit with you together. So first, we should strengthen open cooperation to promote regional prosperity. The success of the Asia-Pacific lies in its steadfast commitment to true multilateralism and open regionalism. Despite headwinds against economic globalization, openness remains the defining trend of our times. Together with the Asia-Pacific business community, we will firmly uphold the multilateral trading system with the WTO at its core, respect market principles, safeguard market rules, support businesses in making independent commercial decisions, and advance trade and investment liberalization and facilitation. Our goal is to foster an open, diverse, and stable economic order in the Asia-Pacific. Second, we should focus on innovation as a driver for robust economic growth. Empowered by the accelerating technological revolution and industrial transformation, digitalization, green development, and smart technologies have become key drivers of global economic recovery. We encourage the Asia-Pacific business community to embrace this trend, prioritize science and technology innovation as the primary growth engine, and deepen cooperation in such emerging fields as artificial intelligence, digital economy, and green low-carbon development, so as to enable new technologies, new business models, and new industries to take root in the region. At the same time, we must bolster inclusive innovation, bridge the digital divide, and ensure that technological progress benefits all. Third, we should enhance connectivity to solidify collaborative development. Connectivity is a sure path to shared prosperity in the Asia-Pacific. We should strengthen both hard connectivity in infrastructure and soft connectivity in rules and standards, while fostering people-to-people connectivity among our economies. Over the past 3 years, the CCPIT has successfully hosted 3 editions of the China International Supply Chain Expo, CRICE, effectively promoting open cooperation in regional industrial and supply chains. The 4th CRICE will be held in Beijing next June. We warmly invite all the businesses to participate and jointly advance Asia-Pacific connectivity. Friends, the 4th plenary session of the 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, which concluded last week, has charted the blueprint for China's economic and social development over the next 5 years. It was emphasized that China will persist in high-quality development and high-standard opening up, and create new horizons for mutually beneficial cooperation to share opportunities and achieve common development with the rest of the world. As China is set to take the helm as the host of APEC next year, the CCPIT stands ready to work with all parties and provide a high-quality platform for dialogue and exchange among the Asia-Pacific business community. I sincerely invite our Asia-Pacific business friends to join us in China for the APEC CEO Summit next year. Let's jointly promote cooperation and development and contribute our wisdom and strengths to building an Asia-Pacific community with a shared future and advancing the APEC Putrajaya Vision 2040. In concluding, let me again congratulate Mr. Sita Wang and his team for organizing a very successful 2025 CEO Summit. And I very sincerely invite you all to China next year for the CEO Summit 2026. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a massive round of applause to the new chair of the APEC CEO Summit. Congratulations, Mr. Ren, on your chairmanship. And a big thank you as well for the message of hope and confidence. He's the chairman of China Council for the Promotion of International Trade and chairman of APEC CEO Summit next year. We have just witnessed the handing over of the chairmanship of the APEC CEO Summit from Korea to China. Thank you very much. After a quick change of the setting, we're going to have another very special address, so please remain seated. It'll be highly appreciated if you could stay with us until the end of the ceremony. We still have a very special address that'll mark the conclusion of the summit.